the ASMR.
What the fuck is that?
What the hell was
I
that?
thought we'd start with something a bit different today.
Welcome to Mr. HH.
Right, anyway, so welcome. Right, anyway, welcome to HCast episode 5. We are here, joined first and foremost by Taika Waititi from the, Paulie and the Latinos.
Wait a minute. You're gonna do what you just did, and then throw disparaging remarks at me? How
You're
dare
a multi-millionaire?
how dare you, sir?
How's that disparaging? You're a multi-millionaire.
I don't know. I just don't like him.
No, I get it. Right, anyway, in all seriousness, sorry about that, ladies and gents. We're still a bit delirious here, it seems. So we've got Paulie from the Latino Slant, my co-host. How are we doing?
Great. I feel great, and it sounds like I'm the only one that has rested here on this panel.
Well, yeah. So, joining us finally, but also under duress, is Andre.
Hey, greetings, everyone. I'm already wondering what the hell I stepped into. Yeah, I'm glad to be back again.
Thanks very much.
Just wait till we all start fighting with Paulie.
Why
would you fight with me?
Because it always ends up being everybody fighting with you.
Oh.
Well, to be fair, though, Paulie is the professional fighter. I mean that in the best way possible. You want to learn how to fight, you go to Paulie.
There you go. And we've got Tom Connors. How are you doing? Good, sir.
I'm here. I slept in a little today, so we'll see how that works out for us.
Good. Now, as always, ladies and gents, everyone's channel is linked in the description box. So, obviously, Andre from Midnight's Edge, Tom, Midnight's Edge After Dark, Paulie from the Latino Slant. I just need to double check.
And Midnight's Edge Espanol, let's not forget.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yep. We just put up a real nice video today on Dungeons and Dragons, and
yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, they went after him. So, I didn't invite you on the show, Mr. H, but it's kind of in Spanish.
I mean, I'm Latinx.
Oh God, get out of here!
How dare you, sir?
How dare you?
They don't allow Latinx on that show.
No, they. Pablo will
eat you alive.
Yeah, if you self-identify as Latinx, that's not going to help you on that particular show.
Where's Mexican Iron Man when you need him?
He would laugh at you if you said that.
No, he would scream.
Exactly. Where is he?
Refer to him as that.
If you refer to him as Latinx, he'd go get his birth certificate and show you how his mama gave him some white privilege.
Oh, dear. Right.
That's what he says. His mom put him on. He's Caucasian or whatever on his birth certificate. God. So he said he was given white privilege from birth.
This
is Dios.
You never heard that? Fantastic. It's true.
True story.
So, welcome, ladies and gents. We have a very, very fun show for you today. Just a bit of housekeeping straight from the off. As I said, linked in the description box is everyone's channel, as well as the second channel, my second channel, which is the best bits of these stream episodes. So you don't want to watch the whole stream. I get it. You don't have the time. I understand. Well, I'll chop it up for you. So you'll find that linked in the description box. Please do subscribe over there. Mr. H Reviews, live archives, loads of stuff, as well as the full episodes. They're in its own playlist, so you can head on over there. You want to support the show. You want to get your comment read out. Really good way to support the show, support, what we do here. Super chats, great way of doing it, as well as super stickers. Crack on. Thank you very much. Helps keep the lights on. So first and foremost, say that again?
Indeed.
Indeed. So first and foremost, VELMA. Now, we have you for a limited time, Andre, and I'm aware you are semi-familiar with this. So I want to know your thoughts, because I've got thoughts. I've been doing videos on this from time to time, and I thought we'd just talk about it here today, because it has now been confirmed to be the worst rated animated show ever on IMDb, as well as the 3rd worst rated normal show on IMDb.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That is, I don't love the show, but I love the response. I love the universal condemnation. That is something I love. I do. What I really like about it is that since they decided to go woke with it, like they went all the way, they didn't hold anything back. And I like that. I respect that. I appreciate that. That they decide that, you know what, we're really going to go for it here on this one. Everyone is going to know exactly what we are about. And I prefer that to the more sneaky, insidious things, like the Batman, for instance, which I dislike very much for that reason. But this one, it's all out in the open. It doesn't hide anything. It proudly displays exactly what it is, and the audience is rejecting it wildly. And it's too woke even for woke folk. And that's kind of like what I like with when we're dealing with a toxic ideology like this. The best way to do something about it is just take it to the ridiculous extreme. Because, yeah, that way you are going to just further radicalize some people, but the big silent masses, they're going to be more woken up to what the hell is this and what is going on. And that's exactly what is needed to fight back against this. So, in that regard, I'm a huge fan of this series because it's just absolutely awful, mean, nasty, Rossicist, sexist, misogynist, what have you. It's like, I didn't think that this kind of what's the word I'm looking? This kind of bigotry, as we're seeing on display in this series, I didn't think that was even possible this day and age.
Oh, it's
I mean,
awful.
I have no qualms about comparing this more or less to Warner's famous Band 11, like the old-timey cartoons that really went all the way with stereotype stuff like that. I don't know if this is as bad or worse or not quite there, or I don't really know. Like, it's obviously
I'd say it's worse because it's intentional, Andre.
Yeah,
Like, at least
I
with a
agree.
lot of that,
It
you
is
can
worse.
chalk up to just pure ignorance that you were.
Yeah. Like, this is just mean-spirited. This just reveals everything about the people making it. And that's also like something that I kind of like with the things that just go all the way overboard. You can tell so much about the people writing it because this is like their therapy session. And it only goes to show just how messed up these people behind this is. So, yeah, I actually approve of this for the kind of like exposure it does. I mean, Project Veritas couldn't have done a better job exposing the madness.
You got a good point there, actually.
Yeah. Like, there ain't no better exposure of the madness than this kind of product. I mean, I will say the same thing that I said about She-Hulk, which is my basic review for this. This is a cry for help.
Yeah.
This is the people writing, producing, everyone who was involved with this collective thing. Is their collective cry for help. They're lost and they don't know. They have completely lost their way. And they need help.
Well,
Come back to reality.
It's just I mean, look at this for a headline. Fred has a tiny penis and Daphne deals drugs in a Scooby-Doo prequel. I mean, who thought that was a good idea?
And also, let's not forget that that Scooby now is a woman, so that she can have a sexual relationship with Shaggy. Like, I heard this
Yeah, that was
before I
weird. That was a really
realized
weird thing.
that Scooby had been like gender and race bent quite literally. So like the first I heard was that, oh, Shaggy is banging Scooby now. I was like first thinking, what the hell? They even went there into like bestiality, but no, they did some race bending first. But yeah,
No, that was supposedly debunked. His upcoming girlfriend in the show is named Gigi.
well, I'm sure they're going to be really straight edge and be in an
Though
asexual
somebody did
relationship,
say that
but,
in his phone there was somebody with the name Scrappy.
Yeah, goodness me. Goodness me. I mean, it's every stereotype under the sun, this show. It absolutely is. Like I said, this is a headline.
Even
Yeah,
with
Fred is the
Austin
time
Powers
period.
style nude scenes, I have to admit I did not see that coming.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, the sort of the mindset behind the creation of the show is so bizarre because well, one, I mean, it's mask off moment anyway, because they're constantly like, "Oh, I'm such a fan. I'm such a fan." Well, we thought about they're apparently such fans, and yet they're professing they're like, "Well, who knew that Velma was the brains behind the solving the mysteries?" Like everyone, idiot. Everyone knew she was. Everyone knew she was the brains. I mean, it's the archetype. It's the stereotype. She had glasses. She was the smart one. Everyone knew she was the one solving the mystery. Everyone knew she was solving the mysteries. She wasn't the unsung hero. Everyone who watched the show knew she solved the mysteries. And they're like, "Oh, so we thought we'd give her the limelight." Everyone knew she was solving the mysteries. What show were you watching? That you were such fans of? And they're like,
Well,
"Oh, well,
they
this
evidently
is
weren't watching it.
well, yeah, obviously." And then they're like, "Oh, well, this is the show. We thought we could do anything. So this is the show of about where they started, and then they became the Mystery Inc. gang." It's like, well, how did they change race then? For goodness sake, how did you get Fred, Daphne dealing drugs? Like, what? What is this show? God, and it's so it's so consistently nasty in its approach to comedy. Like it's not like comedy can be all encompassing and there's many facets to comedy, of course, but this is very just one note. It's very referential and very mean spirited. It's just consistent, one after the other, constant. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. So what, Paulie? You're looking very thoughtful
Yes.
there. Give us your thoughts.
Well, I haven't seen it. Well, that's not true. I saw 5 minutes and I couldn't stand it. So I was, listening to you guys in one ear and then reading an article on this. So even this is universally loathed.
Yeah,
Teen Vogue. That's an article. I'm reading an article from Teen Vogue. They hate it. They hate it because they're saying it perpetuates internalized racism, which I think is brilliant because that, Hollywood is really good at that, right? They'll put up the token, they'll put up, and this is what this is, right? And it's, to me, it's like Namor in Wakanda. It just becomes a racist trope.
You mean to tell me a Mexican crossing a border with a wet back is a racist trope? Really?
I mean, I got thick skin, but I mean, I'm not trying to be a wokoso, but that's a little too much, don't you think?
A little bit on the nose.
And I'm seeing this a lot in shows. This one's weird because Mindy's the executive producer. I gotta think that she's got some final say in the scripts and vision. So it's not like she handed it off to people that don't know what's up, like a lot of these shows that I'm seeing, like Wakanda, National Treasure, that are just, just ridiculously, racist and stereotypical to a point where it's just one-dimensional characters that are thrown in, or maybe they're the lead, but it's not their world. Like, you can tell it's just not authentic, right? So I'm just reading this story from Teen Vogue, and I find it fascinating because this writer is very, for all intents and purposes, she's pretty woke, but but her reasons are like, you make a lot of sense on why. So if you got people from all different, aspects, all different angles hating this, I don't know what to tell you guys. I don't know what to tell you, Mindy.
Well, this is the thing. She does these stupid self-inserts on every single thing she's involved in. I mean, like, why do you think they changed the character's bloody race? Well, because it's Mindy portraying her. That's the only reason. Like, of course it is. It's a self-insert. And the character of Velma is no different to any of the other characters that Mindy portrays. They're always like, oh, you know, I'm ugly because I'm brown, but blah, 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 blah. It's like, what? Like, it's this sort of self-loathingness that she seems to have, and trying to use that as like, it's like,
If I may, it's not self-loathingness. It's actually bitterness and resentment. That's what it is.
yeah.
It's passive aggressive resentment towards the audience and everyone else. She's not like saying, "Oh, I'm so unattractive because I'm brown." No.
Hmm.
It's like, you think I'm unattractive because I'm brown.
Yeah,
Which is not,
projection.
and that is what's the thing right here. Which is also like why I'm saying that this whole thing here is cry for help. And it's very
Yeah.
much so Mindy Kaling's cry for help. There's no excusing her. This thing right
Yeah.
here only goes to show that she may try to be funny, but like with so many people who are comedians, they're really deeply tragic characters behind the laughs and the smiles, and that's what we're seeing right here. This is, I mean, this whole series is a really, really expensive therapy session on HBO Max's dime.
Well, there was even rumors that this was supposed to be something else, and they just slapped Velma's name on it. And
That's kind of what I'd heard, yeah.
But I don't believe that. I honestly don't believe that.
Well, that's not exactly what I'd heard, because I had posited like that. You know, normally when a comedian they get a TV show, they get a cartoon, they're usually the whole centerpiece of the show, right?
Yeah.
In this case, what I'd posited that this sounds like a situation where she would have been better off just doing like Little Mindy's Mysteries and not doing it with Scooby-Doo, but they knew nobody would give a shit. And then after I'd said that, one of my sources reached out to me and said that you're not too far off. Basically, it was she was pitching some like animated show in this vein, and somebody had suggested making it Scooby-Doo so that it would be more recognizable, basically, because Mindy's shows haven't exactly been big hits.
But that's the other thing as well, isn't it? Like, why on earth do people keep giving this person shows? Like, what are they doing? Like, seriously, what
It's
are they
equity.
Well, look at this shit. Fucking 6%. Like, everyone hates it. You know, I love this though. There is something good about this. Like, let's be honest. This is the unifying force in the world at present. We no matter where you're from, we can all get behind that. This is just absolute wank, just utterly terrible.
Yeah,
like no one likes this.
I can't believe it got renewed.
Well, someone likes it. Hollywood Chicago.
Well, wasn't it kind of like that the renewal was a formality because 2 seasons were ordered in the first?
No, I checked.
Okay.
It got an original 1 season order. So this came in though right after the first episodes or whatever, and it was a very highly watched show because, as we've said, Scooby-Doo does have a fan base. But that's also
not for long with shows like this.
Well, they're actively against this show. Like, this is what you have now, and this is where like you said, Andre, earlier, that this show's too woke for woke people. Like, I think that's true. I think that's getting to the point where this has been a unifying show where you've got all fronts coming together on this thing going, this is a piece of shit. Right.
It's become it's a parody of itself, basically. Like when wokeness becomes so woke, it becomes a parody of itself. Even the woke tend to find it pretty offensive at that point, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
You know? And that's what's happened here. But there are some people that like it, amazingly. Patrick McDonald, so everyone write this guy's name down, disregard everything he has to say, ever, for eternity. I don't understand the backlash, he says. This is both hilarious, like pulling a hernia at your rectum, and in the same cadence as Never Have I Ever. To me, a meta and diverse Scooby-Doo comedic reboot makes more sense than an Archie comic to Riverdale. It's called Evolution, people. Zoinks and jinkies.
Tell me you don't understand what evolution is without telling me you don't understand what evolution is.
I mean,
so yeah, that guy's opinion is something that needs to be disregarded across the board in everything.
Well, this is an interesting one as well. Craig Mathieson. The 25-minute episodes are a suitable delivery vehicle for the humor. astute observation, I guess. What the fuck is that?
Well,
But across a season, it has a lot of work to do to function as a cohesive whole. 3 out of 5, though.
Yeah, that's not a very resounding review to give 3 out of 5 stars or whatever to.
That's very bizarre. Very bizarre. Again, some of this stuff is so strange. Like,
Yeah,
while
look at
its
May
departure,
Rude. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
well, it just, while its departure from its source material may be a turn off for diehard Scooby fans, it still has a lot of love for the franchise in all its iterations, especially for Mystery Inc.'s beloved Brain.
Well, that guy
Yeah,
actually sounds like he knows the show a little bit, but I was talking about
I
something
don't
above
think
it
so
there.
because he said it has love for it. Where is this love? All I see is contempt and disrespect.
Yeah?
Well, I just meant that it's not like it's one of the more. It actually sounds like a good review compared to May Rude's review up there, which gives it
Yeah.
a B.
A
And it's
B.
like if Velma can iron out a few kinks and workshop a few of the worst jokes, it'll become a great lead for Harley Quinn. Time to vindicate Velma.
That doesn't sound positive, does it? But it is somehow a B of all things. The hotly anticipated origin story, the brains behind Mystery Inc., is well worth the wait, with a compelling mystery and even funnier punchlines. Yeah, if the punchline was to your dick with a razor, God, this is garbage. It's so bizarre. But basically, most people hate this, and they hate this for good reason. It's the unifying force. There's actually a lot more people that like this than I thought. Wow.
Are these critics?
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah. The Mary Sue, of course they love it.
They don't
Of course
matter.
They do.
Of course.
What matters is the 1.3 reviews on Google, and then you said on IMDb.
IMDb is absolute gold mine.
It's
Yeah.
being bombed though, Paulie.
Because it's the bomb or what?
No, they already tried claiming that it was being.
Well, yeah.
review
So
bombed.
everyone's been banging on about it being all. It's all racism behind it. It's got nothing. In fact, no. It's got it's got nothing to do with racism. That's not why.
Oh, we're racist for not
like
liking it.
Yeah,
Of course.
basically.
So
Yeah,
I was racist because I couldn't take more than 5 minutes of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Even though
Welcome.
I'm brown as well.
Welcome to the
Don't
club,
matter.
Paulie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You guess we could call you white now, Paulie, quite frankly.
Yeah, but like there
Hanging
is
out with you
nothing-
guys, yeah.
There is
Hey,
nothing that is
fucking-
going to
Yeah.
turn a brown person into a white supremacist as quickly as disliking a woke production.
Apparently.
Oh, we got Tom Conkle in the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our boy Tom. What's up, brother?
Hey, Tom.
How's it going, man? If I
Yeah, because he worked on Be Cool, Scooby Doo.
yeah, we'll someone send him a link.
I got
Get
it.
him on if he wants. We'll harass you about it. But so that's the other thing as well. So like former Daphne star who did the voice of Daphne on some Scooby-Doo iteration has come out and basically sort of slammed Velma as well, which is very, very funny. Just basically everyone hates it openly. Absolutely hates it openly. I'm trying to find out where the which Daphne star it was.
Well, it's one that is afraid that she's not going to be Daphne again because of this. So I don't blame her for being.
Oh wow! It's not like this is going to be taken over anytime soon. But yeah, goodness me, it's not. It's not good. It's not a good show by any stretch. But again, I thought this would be, a sort of a very fun opening. The fact that it is genuinely the worst rated show in animated sort of TV shows, the worst one. That's insane. It's got a 1.3 after 50,000 votes. 50,000 votes. But I think what is interesting about this, right, is that because it is so universally hated across the board, is that you're not getting the sort of frequency and quantity of articles that are claiming everyone is a review bomber that doesn't like it, because there are so many mainstream people that just like, yeah, this is garbage. And so you don't. There are obviously some people saying it's you're a review bomber and you're racist and stuff like this, but there's very little of that by comparison to what they would normally be, because it's just the unifying force right now. Everyone hates it. It's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Gold, ladies and gents. Gold. So we had I think we can sort of shuffle on from that, to be honest. I don't think there's much else to say really. It's Tom, did you say there was a season 2? Sorry.
Yeah, it seemingly got picked up for a season 2, I guess.
Was David Zaslav out of his fucking mind?
Well, I don't think he made that choice, but I think the choice was made simply off the viewing numbers. But then again, I mean, it's statistics.
He can overrule everything.
He could, but I don't think he's that worried about. It's not in his purview right now.
Oh my god!
Well,
he's got bigger fish to fry, is my point.
Yeah, for one thing, he does. He has that, and also, if someone else has decided that we have the money for it, of course he could go in and overrule it, and it would send a very, very good signal that entertainment is coming back to Marvel. But he would get all the more heat in his direction if he were to go in and shut it down, because remember, all of Hollywood wants to see him fail anyway. Yeah, Hollywood wants to see David Zaslav fail. He's under a lot of heat already. Him shutting down that would just open up even more accusations that he's the orange man bat of Hollywood. That he's now.
I can't find an official confirmation though. All I see is, I guess, something was said by one of the show people on the show. So I don't know. It hasn't. I guess it hasn't technically been officially.
Oh goodness me! And HBO Max.
Well, that's good news.
Oh wow, that was some ASMR from you there, Paulie.
Oh, sorry.
It's because he had his mic muted and not muted on StreamYard, probably.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that's good news that it's not officially.
Yeah, no, that is good news.
Not Absolutely. That I could find here in just a cursory search, real quick.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those kind of rumors that have done the rounds then, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But it's shocking to me, like what people cancel and what people look to sort of continue, or even what gets green lights. There are some great HBO Max series that have been cancelled lately.
Well, we get a bit of insight on that kind of stuff as far as like how the corporate mind thinks on green lighting and canceling things through Paul Chatto. He's talked about how sometimes it's some of the shit doesn't make sense to us, but it does to them. And, he does a good job explaining sometimes why that is. But, it just all boils down to, on paper, these things usually look a certain way and, pitched a certain way. And then when you get to the other end, it's a totally different story. But,
And sometimes it's just more worth trouble and cost to cancel something than to just let it fly. Sometimes that is and especially in cases like this, I should imagine that may be one of the cases where it's easier to just say fuck it than to deal with everything that goes into canceling it.
Well, and Zaz went through the animation department really hardcore and cut a lot of shit. So I imagine what did make it through is, this, like Andre has said a lot of times, this is probably just a data point more than anything at this point.
Yeah. And it's a very good data point, though. That is one thing that I really appreciate with everything being woker than woke, because, it's going to open really huge. But that only means it's going to be a huge drop-off. I mean, they can see the data. They can see that so and so many people watched the first 5 minutes, and they all drop off right about here, and then they don't come back again. I mean, there's a lot of good data points to be had from something like this, which is another reason why I appreciate it. And the beauty, just let's say for argument that it is cancelled, it's going to continue. Sorry, that it is renewed. Just for sake of argument, well, it's just going to keep on delivering all those data points that can be used to block other similar productions.
Yeah, no, that's true.
All about data points.
Just add that to something like Batwoman, and you got all, you see how these things just don't work out. The lowest rated show on TV and then the lowest rated show on IMDb. Well, that's 2 data points right there for both of those.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is very true. So I think we will, unless we have anything else to sort of say on that, we'll shuffle on to some super chats and then the next few topics. Anyone? Anything? Anyone?
No,
Anything
I'm
else?
done with Velma.
Anything else? You done with Velma? I didn't think you even started Velma, mate.
Nah.
Oh dear. Okay, cool. So we have a membership. What is it, like an anniversary sort of milestone? Marty D as a member for 24 months, supporter level 1. So wow, thank you so much, genuinely. That's crazy. Do appreciate that. If you want to support the channel, becoming a member is a good way to do that, along with the super chats as well. So speaking of super chats, I think we had one drop in. We did. Zombie Box Review sent a £1.49 super sticker. Thank you so much, dude. Zombie Box Reviews, Andy, do appreciate that, mate. And then we had Gary for £5. Very astute. Says, when I find my profile picture more funny than the show, you know it's bad. I have actually seen this. I've seen this before. The sort of meme there is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you're very right. Like the commentary about this is funnier than the show itself. The show is just utterly awful. It's not a good show. Absolutely terrible. Garbage. So let's talk about something else which has happened, which has been cancelled lately, which certain individuals have come out and spoken about. Interesting stuff. You know, we talk about people cancelling stuff and, you know, David Zaslav renewing things, maybe not reviewing things. But Doom Patrol and we've got, what is this? Doom Patrol and Titans to end after the current 4th seasons. Now, these things are not stuff which I'm particularly invested in. I've never seen any of this stuff. I'm not interested in it. But I know loads of people are massively shocked by this. They are hugely shocked by this. But we also have Tom here. How you doing, good sir?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Good to see everybody.
Hey,
Nice
Tom.
to see you.
What's
I
up,
hear I
buddy?
missed the party about Scooby Doo, but I was in your chat to sort of talking to some people, and you know, I have firsthand experience because I was the staff writer on Be Cool Scooby Doo, which was a couple of years ago. Was a stab at updating and making comic versions of it, and we had so much pushback about don't make it too funny, don't do this, don't be too silly.
Don't make it
'Cause
too
we-
funny. What?
Yeah, don't make it too funny, you know, worry about the mystery, all this kind of thing. And then when I see this show come out, I go, what? What? You know, I worked so hard on both seasons of that show to sort of craft satirical things, and we used to have absurdist jokes and things, and we were very proud of what we created, and we had a great team. And then this show comes out, and I'm like, all the resourcing's going to this show. And it's, you know, it's a bit heartbreaking because you get excited, you know, it's like I'm on a Warner Brothers show, I'm the staff writer on a Warner, but they, you know, they left us to hang out to dry, you know. So fascinating to see this come to the fore because it's sort of star powered, and I think Andre said it right. It's like they went all in on the wokeness of it rather than the funniness of it, and I don't know who it's for.
Well, so that's interesting, isn't it? You like being involved in another show and being told, you know, careful of the comedy, focus
Yeah.
on the mystery, and then
Yeah.
having seen this, I'm sure you're like, what, huh?
I just,
And you say
yeah.
star power. I mean, Mindy's not star power.
She has-
Everything she's
she has an
involved
output.
in is fucking abysmal, though.
Yes, but the problem is they have star power within the ecosystem. When Mindy
Yeah.
says when she wants to make a show, it happens on Friday. When I say I want to make a show, it happens 2 years from now.
Yeah,
And that's the big difference.
but that's bizarre. I mean, that's like a God, that's the blatant disconnect from studio heads and the audiences, because audiences don't like Mindy. They don't care about it. They're not interested. She's a nothing. She's a nobody.
We call it falling upward, though. She can point to 3 shows that have been on television that have been canceled, so she will get an opportunity before someone like I would, if I've had a show that was successful once and got let go. Like, oh, we won an Annie Award for it. So what? She was on The Office. So that's sort of
she wasn't the reason The Office was good.
No, but it says Mindy The Office Kaling, and that's all you need to get reading.
Goodness
That's
me.
how the town works, and when your boyfriends and your other people are highly connected showrunners and writers, that helps too. But I really wish this was more merit based, and I always wonder when something ends up being Velma, which clearly critics don't like, audiences don't like.
Actually, no one likes it. It's the most hated
Yeah,
thing.
it makes you wonder. It's like with all the workshopping crap that we have to go through to make a show. Like we had a fight about someone. The joke was instead of being afraid of heights, he was afraid of widths. And we had to like workshop it, fight, argue all the way through every level of it. And it's like, what? You let that through completely. It's disheartening. It's there's so many talented people out there that have great show ideas and great things, and so when something like this comes to the fore and gets, let's face it, the publicity push that this gets, you go, why am I doing this? Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is that like this show was doomed from the very beginning, because the moment they released the trailer, they were copyright blocking and striking people that had spoken about it. I did a video on it, and they took down the video, and I'm like, what? What do you mean you take down the? You can't do that. Like, and that's when you're like, yeah, something's real.
You know what I call it?
They are scared.
Yeah, you don't hire a PR firm for a show like that. You hire damage control before it even comes out.
Yeah, well, that's what they did. I mean, but the trailer alone. I don't know. Do any of you guys remember the first trailer that came out? Do anyone remember that?
Not
vaguely,
but
it was so offensive. Like, they're literally pissing in your face and just standing there telling you they're pissing in your face. Like,
in other words, it was representative of the show, is what you're saying.
Oh, it truly was. Truly was.
Right.
They're like, oh, so reboot this, reboot that. Oh, oh God. And so I did a video on it, and I was just discussing it. And then I wake up the next day, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Copyright takedown? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, they're doing damage control, and it's probably a bunch of favors that they can't burn anybody. And I think somebody here on the panel even said it. It's sometimes more expensive to pay off everyone's deal than it is to leave the show on. And pipelining it, the reason you do these orders with animation, a lot of people don't know this, but pipelining for the workflow of animation can take a year. So announcing a season 2 is a way of hiring the people in Romania who are doing the drawing and the cell animation, hiring them now and getting them locked in a rate rather than find out how the show does, and then they renegotiate a higher price to go, look, to work on this, it's going to be a lot more. So a lot of times with these shows, you want a second season order because you can lock in the team for 2 years at the same price. And it takes a year from recording the voice to getting the animation back. It takes that long, as Mr. H. You do film. Animation takes a lot longer to get approved. To do the pre-visual and then get back.
Yeah.
The voice recording is what drives it.
Yeah. Absolute poop.
I'm
glad. Yeah, well, I'm glad I managed to get you to pop on.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and I haven't seen Paulie or Tom or Andre in a long time.
Yeah, I was thinking you have to come join us on the morning.
Well, I've been trying.
I would love to. I've been head down. I worked on a TV show pilot, and I just submitted the sizzle for it, and then I've been trying to do some fundraising on Island of the Stars and a couple of the other films I have. So I've just been head down, working on those like crazy. But I would love to join you again as soon as I can.
I can't wait to see Island of the Stars, though. I mean, from what I've seen, it looks amazing.
Yep. Well, I just got it to Mel Gibson. So, fingers crossed. He's looking at it
Fingers
right now.
crossed. Fingers
Yeah,
crossed. That'd be awesome.
it would be a
Nice.
reunion for him and Vernon Wells because Vernon and I are making the film, and he hasn't done a film with Vernon since The Road Warrior. So it would be great. And I wrote the part specifically for Mel, so it's 100% super concentrated Mel.
You can run, but you cannot hide.
Yeah. There's nothing
Oh,
more fun
dear.
than doing Vernon to Vernon in a car. I love it.
Fingers crossed for that, because that's a
Yeah.
movie I really want to see.
Yeah, we're adding some great people to the cast.
Awesome. Andre, I'm aware of the time. I think is this you needing to bounce out now? Or?
Yes, actually, it is. I was about to send a message behind the chat here, but since you bring it up, yes. I regret that I have to take my leave for today, but I'll be back again next Thursday. And always
less delirious then.
always a pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here with all my friends on the panel. Mr. Conklin, awesome to see you again, and I hope to have you on our streams very soon here.
I would love to.
All right,
Awesome.
everyone, take care.
All right.
Hey,
take care,
Andre, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see your framed poster.
Yeah, that's gonna be brilliant. That'll be brilliant.
Yeah,
What?
I'm so excited. So excited.
Framed poster.
Take care.
Take care.
Yeah, I got him a little poster for Christmas. He finally got it.
Ah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's an Italian poster of the Ballad of Gregorio Cortez.
Ah,
Nice.
Yeah.
I love
Very
60s
dope.
posters. I love them.
awesome.
Yeah.
Before we shuffle back to our sort of Doom Patrol and DC topic, we've got some other things just dropped in. So Larry Quartwitz for $5 says, thanks for coming on, Tom Conkle. Awesome to get some insight. Very interesting stuff indeed. And then we had a bunch of members, didn't we? So Mike Scott, member for 1 year at level 0.5. So thank you so much. Larry Quartwitz, member for 1 year, although member for 17 months, support level 2. It says, hello, Mr. H and friends. I'm excited for Infinity Pool tomorrow. Also, did you guys see the new Shazam trailer? Looks impressive. So a few things about that. Infinity Pool is getting ripped apart on the reviews. Absolutely obliterated as some nonsensical lump of shite, basically.
The Cronenberg one?
Yeah. With the Mia Goth and one of the Skarsgårds. Yeah, absolutely being torn apart. So I'm not excited, but I'm still looking forward to seeing it just to judge it and see. But it is being ripped to
Who's ripping it apart?
Quite a lot of people. Quite a lot
Well,
of people.
We're very excited to see it. We're huge Mia Goth fans, so
yeah, apparently it's it just falls. It's like it's so far up its own arse. Which I you know, looking at the type of film it is, I can see why some people would think that. You know, without looking at it, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, I could see. You know, you can kind of get a feel for a film, the type of vibe that it is, and you can kind of see that it might have that element to it. But I'm not, I've not seen it. I'm not going to judge it. I will watch it and sort of, we'll kind of see from there. But it is being ripped apart. Have I seen the new Shazam trailer? Have you seen the new Shazam trailer? Because I have.
I just dropped it in the chat here. Yeah.
Okay. Two things really quick before I go on. Did you read the Olaf Van Ness upgrade?
I was about to. Yeah.
Okay.
I was covering the first bit and then getting there.
Yeah. Also, too, Nate. Let me look it up. I saw like a glowing review of the Mia, so I'm gonna find it.
Well, that's interesting because obviously you got polar opposites there then, which means that this will probably be divisive, which makes sense for a Cronenberg film, which that's fine. I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Yeah, let me look for it.
So Shazam trailer. Who's seen it? Because I have, and it was fine, I guess. I don't know.
It was better than the other trailer.
I felt like they showed pretty much the whole film, to be fair.
That's the other thing, though. Yeah, like I think I pretty much got the whole idea of what the movie's going to be here.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't hate that, but it was a bit. I don't know. I felt very underwhelmed by it.
Yeah, compared to the first film, yeah. Like,
I really like the first one. Just to clarify, everyone, I really like the
yeah,
first one. I thought
it was the
great,
best
great
Marvel
story.
movie that DC ever made.
Yeah, I can see that. I just thought it had a really good message.
No, it was fun.
Well, it was just a nice message, you know. It was like about family, and you know, your sort of family can be sort of anyone you choose it to be, and that's more important rather than blood and stuff like that. And I liked that. I thought that was special. Thought that was important, and I really liked that. This one just seems a bit, I don't know. It doesn't have that heart to it that the first one did. But in fairness, the first one didn't reveal any of that in the trailer. You know, that sort of core sort of glue that held that film together. So maybe this one has that as well. But you'd think because people know the type of film that the first one was now, they would lead with some of that in the trailer to sort of solidify that it's the same type of film. But I don't know. I just felt very underwhelmed. Giant CGI dragons. I just, you know, big blue domes. I was like, what is this, like the 2000s again? Like, what's going on here? Seemed very like a throwback. Tom, you've just watched it, haven't you? What did you think?
I just watched it. Helen Mirren is having a very good time these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucy losing it as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I think you're right, Nate. It does show too much. Like I didn't like I don't like trailers where they show someone's falling. Oh, but she gets rescued. You know, those kinds of trailers take the teeth out of the whole reason you're going to see it. So it's like, oh, there's this scene where he rescues her. I will say one thing in its defense. It's tone. It's a kids movie. It's very much a kids movie. In the look, the feel, it seems to be having fun. It doesn't seem to go too dark, and it does seem to have comedy with dramatic moments, which is what you're paying for. And I feel like it's a middle of the road looking film. It might have some heart. You know, certainly I like the star of it a lot. I've met him a couple of times, and he's dealt with anxiety and a whole bunch of other issues as a person, and he's a genuine guy. I feel like this movie at least feels like it knows what its audience is, and it's playing to it. You know, I haven't seen it, but as a trailer, I do think you're right. It goes on a bit too much. It does give.
It looks like
Yeah.
looks like the entire third act is there.
Yeah, that, and you should never. I have a rule: you only show first act and a little bit of the second act in a trailer. You never show third act stuff in a trailer, and that rule is broken very, very often. I think Paulie agrees with that. That it's
I mean, that's like yes. It's like you just show too much in these trailers, which is another reason why trailers like 20 minutes long. It's like, well, you're showing like 3 to 5 minutes of the movie. Why are you doing that?
Yeah, I got a
mixed
confidence. Oh, sorry, Polly.
Like you said, it's like the third act of it. It's like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But this one especially, like there's a massive dome over a city. You know, he gets locked in, but he's got the staff. I know what I need to do, and it's like, okay. So.
He uses all the powers at once and shuts out his friends. You can tell that's in there. No, but like I have kind of a mixed reaction on how much you give away and show in a trailer. Like when it comes to sequels to stuff, I don't want them to give a bunch of shit away. Now, when it comes to a regular first time out film, look, they used to, like, you go back and watch the history of trailers, you know, of course, you got to a point in the 70s and 80s where before they got the in a world guy in the movie trailers, where they would literally just slap scenes from the movie into a trailer. And they wouldn't even really have a voiceover or nothing. And they would give away the whole freaking movie sometimes. Like, go watch one of the Gremlins trailers. It gives away the whole movie. One of the trailers that came out after the movie came out. But, like, it's like sometimes you'll see those and you're just like, Goonies was another one I remember gave away a lot of stuff in the trailer and some other stuff. And it's just like, okay, Back to the Future gives away a lot of stuff. But you know what? It didn't matter because those movies were still good. Right? So they didn't have to worry about it. But nowadays...
Like the problem now is the trailer is accessible 24/7 and it lives on. A trailer back in the 80s when you and I would see like the Goonies or something, you saw it in that moment and you would forget things. And you know, 6 months from now when the movie came out, you couldn't go on YouTube and check the trailer to remember things. So the medium now, I think I'm a big proponent. Like I've been pushing recently, you should shoot original material for a trailer. You should just shoot.
You're not allowed to now because there's a lawsuit with Universal. So you're not allowed to.
Who's who's not in the movie. You're right. Who's not in the movie doing? But you could shoot something that's the flavor of a film and evoke what it's going to be or create some mystery. You know, I have an idea for something I'm shooting right now where that's not a scene from the movie, but it says everything you need to know about.
Kind of like how Ryan
everyone-
Reynolds
Yeah.
has been selling
get
the
your
last few
lawsuits
films,
ready
yeah.
for Tom Conkle because he's about
That's
to
right.
disrespect the audience.
But no, like Ryan Reynolds has done that. He took the old school Hitchcockian style of, I'm not going to show you anything from the movie, but what I'm going to do is sit here and talk to you for about 2.5 minutes, and you're going to laugh at it, and then I'll promote the movie. You know?
Yep. It worked brilliantly. I mean, his stuff opens huge. I think that's it's like, can you imagine picking up a mystery book and you turn around on the book sleeve and read the back? It's like, okay, so Bernice did it with it. Okay, I think I'll pick this book up. You know, it's like you wouldn't put the last chapter of a book on the back of the book to sell it.
Well, yeah, I mean that is Well, you're right. That is literally what they do with these trailers now. Like the Shazam trailer is absolutely showing quite a large element of the third act without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
You know,
I think you're right.
so
You're absolutely
disappointing.
right. There's an art to trailers, and unfortunately, when corporate gets involved or when the manufacturer of trailers kind of just is like, well, you know, tell a whole story and hope they show up. It's like there's a creativity that could go in the trailer, and only a few auteurs have the kind of control over the. You know, Nolan tells them exactly what he wants in his trailer.
Yeah, there's very few guys. Usually it's handed over to the marketing department, and they get to decide.
There's special trailer editing houses that do them.
Yeah, Trailer Park does a lot of them here in LA, and
the very famous company that edited Suicide Squad together.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not? It's
why not?
Yeah.
You like what you did with the trailer. Can you do that to the movie?
Can you make the movie like that? Yeah.
Yeah, just insert all these shit songs. Don't worry about it, mate.
Yeah. Trailers are an art, and unfortunately, only a few people still act like it is. And you have to remember that trailers now are accessible all the time in all places, so they need to be much more thoughtful to be memorable because they've become disposable. You know, you used to just see trailers when you went to see a movie.
Yeah, no, you are right. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? You know, the thought process behind a trailer hasn't changed with the times, but the times have obviously significantly adjusted and changed how people consume, view, and repetitively consume and view these trailers. So the marketing element and, you know, how you go about marketing and how you know, what you choose to include or things like that should have adjusted and changed with the times. But if anything, it's gotten worse because they're literally showing more and more in the trailer. Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well,
But
I think
you
the trailer.
think that they'd be on it a bit more, but no.
Yeah.
I think the trailer became a thing mainly with, if you guys remember, Batman '89. And funnily enough, that first trailer is literally what I said. You know, just a bunch of scenes slapped together so they could get something ready for Comic-Con. And there was people who were paying to get into, I can't remember what movie had come out that it was attached to, but they were just paying to get into that movie just to see the Batman trailer. Then they'd leave.
Yeah.
And then we see the same thing with Phantom Menace and a few other trailers down the road. So that's kind of where the beginning of this whole idea of I got to see the trailer, you know, and I remember sitting there and trying to download the Phantom Menace trailer and it taking like 3 hours to download to watch it.
People would download it on their phone lines. Yeah. And there was a specialness to that. I think scarcity. Actually, Nate, you bring up a great point. I think the reason they're showing more is because the shelf space is cheap now. Like, there's no reason to economize. You're like, you know, it could be 10 minutes. Doesn't matter. It'll just be on YouTube. It'll just be on this. It could be 15 minutes. I mean, who cares? You know, there's no sort of discipline that you have to go, well, you know, we've got screen time before this movie. We've got to make it great in 2 minutes. You know, now it can be anything.
Well, that's the that's similar with movies, isn't it? You know, the needs and necessity change. Someone in this chat mentioned Jaws, and Jaws. Well, they're not mentioning Jaws, but I'm talking about Jaws the film, right? Like Jaws is a great example of needs and necessity making a film better. You know, like budgetary constraints, issues with the animatronics made that film significantly better. If you have everything that's accessible at all times and you can just pour everything out, whatever, with no constraints, doesn't matter, whatever, everything's worse off for it, generally speaking. So it's a similar kind of it's a similar kind of example with trailers on a whole. So yeah,
I think
interesting.
It's got to have something to push against. If you,
Mm.
the best art has a frame around it. It has a border, a boundary. It has something you have to work in. If you could just scroll a painting in all directions, you'd have no composition. You'd have no one saying no. It's the limitations that make you creative.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
And Jaws had, hands down, both Jaws 1 and 2 probably have some of the more memorable trailer lines in history. It's like the first one is like, it's like God made a perfect killing machine and gave it Jaws. It's like, oh, I love that line. It's just chilling. And then the second one, of course, is just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. It's like,
Oh, just perfect.
I miss those trailers. Those were old classics. Yeah.
And Jaws was a kind of trailer-specific shoot. They used some of the shots from the film, but it starts with the sort of going through stock footage of the ocean, voiceover, and then underneath her, and then it's 3 shots.
Speaking of,
I just watched it 3 days ago.
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of Jaws, I did see the Fablemans yesterday,
Oh, you did?
and it was
How
interesting
was it?
to see a little bit of where you could see where he got his Jaws inspiration.
Mhm.
It was okay. For us,
Oscar-worthy?
no. For us, there were some great film nerd moments, especially of Spielberg. I just don't know if it merits it merits all that Oscar.
Yeah, that's
The
fair
parents
enough.
were great. The parents were great. The actors were great.
Mm.
I actually thought it was going to be more cinematic. It
Oh.
was more of a family drama. I was just like,
And how amazing that you could do your own autobiography is amazing.
I mean,
No one
and
does.
that,
That's like Branagh when he wrote his autobiography when he was 22 years old. It's like Kenneth Branagh wrote his own autobiography, and it's sort of like Spielberg doing a movie on himself. Now, I am glad Spielberg's doing the movie on John Williams. I think that's
the
terrific.
doc, yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
national treasure, and he does need to be documented. But it's
Yeah.
fascinating. I would have had someone else do my own because they would be one step removed from it. But it is interesting to see how he wants his own story told. And a lot of that movie, I didn't realize how much my own life paralleled his, like interests. And, I did the same kind of stupid stuff. I did the same filming. My train was on a ping pong table, but I did all the same stuff. I had all, I made friends by putting them in movies. So I'm watching the movie going, yes, and, but it's interesting. It's coming from him. It's a fictionalized version of his own life, so it's a very strange exercise for me.
Yeah, and I mean, just to go really quickly on Fableman's, I'm just wondering how much fact was in there and how much was embellished. And it's not to say I didn't enjoy it, but I'm like 2 hours and 40 minutes of this. There was some really good nerd moments, like how he shot his first film as a kid and as a teenager, and then but that's not all of the film. There's like I said,
That's true, Polly. I happen to have read another biography of him, and I've seen interviews. When I was growing up, I was a bit obsessed with him because I actually really love his middle period work. His early work is extraordinary. I would have loved to have worked with him or done something with him. All of those stories he's told before, like when I was going and yes, I'd seen that,
correct.
So it seems like the only thing that he hid was he composited certain people in that, that didn't really exist, and then just sort of gave it a different name. And I feel like that's him taking one step back himself, from what happened.
Yeah, again, to me, this should have been like a movie on HBO Max, or like just straight to streaming. It was like I was surprised how
that type of film is not a theater-based film for sure.
Well, we already got the Steven Spielberg story. It was called The Secret of My Success. You guys didn't know that? It was loosely based on his supposed story about how he tricked his way into Universal. Yeah.
No.
That's
on the lot. Yeah.
Tom, I think you'd like some of the aspects of the film.
Oh, I'm sure I will. It's one
definitely
I've been looking
wait for
forward
it.
to. Yeah.
Definitely wait for it. I was kind of pissed because I was like, I want to see all these movies that are nominated for Best Picture, and I'm just like, oh, really?
Yeah. Well, just on that topic, just to interrupt, let's shuffle on to some super chats and the next topic there. Gary for £10 says, I think you're wrong about time travel in Adam Driver's new film. I think they're saying humans don't originally come from Earth, and when we got here, we lost our advanced technology. Yes, potentially. That is actually a topic we will be discussing today. The new trailer for 65, the Adam Driver film, which I'm
actually
infinitely excited about. It looks so fucking good. So yeah, we will be talking about that.
Yeah.
Hey Tom, I think your mic is either turned away from you or it's not, because you're sounding like you're in a car in a telephone booth.
It might be
Remember
because he
those?
doesn't have microphone or headphones on. I think
It'll be the lack of headphones, so the echo cancellation is coming through too
Ah.
strong, so it's cutting you off.
Oh.
Is
That's
that
what it
any
is, 'cause
better? Is that any better?
a little
Yeah.
bit for now,
No.
but
A little bit.
Yeah.
We want the full
we got-
conkle.
if anything, maybe turn down your speakers a little bit and get your mic closer to your face. That would help.
There, let's try that. Is that better? We
Yes.
doing better with that?
Yeah.
Much better.
This could be a whole
Yep.
show.
Larry Quadowitz for $5 says, Slipknot fan and I are curious, what was the film you acted in as a favor to a friend that you mentioned in the past? So this is obviously to you, Tom.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed the question. I was obsessing with my mic.
What was the film you acted in as a favor to a friend that you mentioned in the past?
Let's see. Noise in the Middle, which was a horror film, came out about 3 years ago. Was a guy who was a commercial director who gave me a chance to do two of the biggest commercials I ever did. So when he wanted me to be in his film, I said yes. It was a great, fun part. I flew up to the Northwest and filmed it up there. I've done a lot of parts for people as a favor for a friend, but that's the one that springs to mind. I think we're talking about.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah. It's on Tubi right now. It's called Noise in the Middle.
So, next topic. We have cancellations afoot. Doom Patrol and Titans will be ending after the current 4th seasons. Now, again, this is not something which I'm familiar with. I particularly care about. I've not seen these things. I'm not very interested in them. But loads of people are up in arms. So much so that James Gunn has had to come out and discuss this. So as we get on to this topic, we also have Valiant Renegade dropping in. How are you, good sir?
Oh, good afternoon or good night, wherever you folks are. Good to see everybody. Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. So we'll just sort of get into this topic and we'll sort of get everyone's thoughts on this. And then I'll say hello to you again, VR, my dude. Basically, everyone was reporting Titans and Doom Patrol. That's it. They're done. It's an interesting element, this anyway, because they were originally developed for the cancelled DC Universe streaming service. Does everyone remember this? That thing that came out and like died within, I don't know, it was like 2-3 months or something like that. It's got like this whole DC Universe. It was like an app thing. And does anyone remember this?
yeah, it's kind of like the CNN app.
Yeah. Very
they decided
bizarre.
to do it right last minute before HBO Max became a thing, and then, as everybody predicted, it just got, basically absorbed into
Folded
HBO
in.
Max. Yeah,
It's the weirdest thing. It's so bizarre.
There's no reason to have multiple streaming services, especially when some of them are so specific. To segregate these things out from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Because you have to pay operational costs for each one, you have to pay advertising costs for each one.
Yeah.
It's just a complete waste of money.
Well, it's like Disney having Star Wars streaming platform. You're like, well,
Right.
why? You've got Disney Plus. What are you doing? Just bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're going to be finishing up their 4th seasons, which are currently streaming. So the ones which are out now are the ones which are done. So the producers were said to have seen that the writing was on the wall and set out to ensure that the final seasons will give fans a satisfactory conclusion. Apparently, the decision to cancel both series was reportedly made before James Gunn and Peter Safran came on board. So we had this, an HBO Max spokesperson came out and said, while these will be the final seasons of Titans and Doom Patrol, we're very proud of these series and excited for fans to see their climactic endings. We're grateful to Berlanti Productions. I fucking hate Berlanti Productions. And Warner Brothers Television for making such thrilling, action-packed, heartfelt series. We thank Titan showrunner Greg Walker, executive producers Greg Berlanti, Akiva Goldsman, Sarah Schechter, Jeff Johns, Richard Hattem, and the team at Weed Road Pictures. For Doom Patrol, we celebrate showrunner Jeremy Carver and executive producers Greg Berlanti, Sarah Schechter, Jeff Johns, Chris Dingers, and Tamara Becker Wilkinson. For 4 seasons, fans have fallen in love with the Titans and Doom Patrol, investing in their trials and tribulations and in their legendary battles, saving the world time and time again. So this, this is interesting for a few reasons, primarily because it was made before James Gunn and Peter Safran came on board. But then they're like, he comes out and is like, it precedes us. It wasn't me. So you could stop that if you want. Surely, you could stop that. The head of DC, you could pick it up again if you wanted. It's not something which has to continue down the line. But obviously, he came out and said this over on Twitter. It says the decision to end the series precedes us, but I certainly wish the best for the talented group of creators, actors, and the rest of the crew that produced both shows. And then Andy came out. He said, James Gunn, I have a question that I'm genuinely hoping you can ask or answer. Even though you had no involvement with Titans and Doom Patrol ending, if you had wanted to incorporate those shows for your DCU, would that option have been within your jurisdiction or no? So this is an interesting insight into what power he has. Sure, Andy. What characters, performers playing those characters we keep in the DCU would be mine and Peter's cool, but that doesn't mean we can keep any TV show running indefinitely. So what do we make of that?
If I can give some insight.
You
this
may.
Goes back to, well, yes. Well, this goes back to what... this is the one time, so pay attention. It's the only time I have any insight.
It's the only time you're allowed to give insight as well, Tom.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
make it count.
My cage. As you know, I've had some Warner Brothers shows, and when I was writing on Be Cool Scooby-Doo, it's a perfect example of this. When they announce a show's canceled, usually the team behind it has been let go 5 or 6 months before announcement. And with an animation show, like I was saying, it's usually a year lead time from recording the voice actors to getting back the animation from whatever house is doing it. What happened with me with season 2 was up, and they said stay late. I think I worked up until the day before Christmas writing what would have been season 2, and then they announced they're letting it go in March. So I knew I was never coming back. They're like, write it over Christmas and you'll come back. But then 2 or 3 months into the next year, they're like, yeah, we're not bringing it back. We're going to finish out 2. So a year after I'd already stopped working on the show, 2 drops. And then people are like, oh, I hope you're going to do another one. I'm like, I haven't worked on this show in over a year. So everyone has scattered. It's scattered to the 4 winds, I'm sure. The team that did the Titans that's dropping right now on television has probably moved to other jobs by now. So they can't bring it back. And in James Gunn's defense, he would have to call and ask everyone involved to break their current deals to come back and do the show. So it would cost
that makes sense.
a lot of money to start it again.
Yeah. Well, I think from my perspective, it's just interesting how James Gunn likes to I think James Gunn, we said this before on the show, is James Gunn spends far too much bloody time on Twitter talking to people when he should be releasing, official press releases via DC and things like that. I think this nonsense little, sort of excerpts here and there doesn't help in any way, shape, or form. And I just think it riles people up, because they're sound bites. They're just tiny little sound bites. The context maybe not always there. It's just not. I just think he spends far too long on Twitter.
He's running the risk of doing what basically Mangold did and put himself in a position now where, like I said, that if he had just kept his mouth shut or simply just put out a blank kind of statement of, hopefully you guys get like the movie when you get to see it in a year, et cetera, et cetera. I don't ever think I could ever be as good as Steven Spielberg, but I hope you guys enjoy the film. At that point, all it had to do was be better than Crystal Skull. Now that he's gone out and made an ass out of himself, that new Indiana Jones movie has to be as good as all the rest. And James Gunn's kind of putting himself slowly into that position here, where, you know,
I
he's
would say
already.
slowly. I think he's almost.
Yeah, you're
there
right.
now.
It's kind of almost quickly into that position where it's like, now you're setting yourself up for failure, buddy, because no matter what you do, unless it's the
Ultra
best of
judgment
the
comes.
best, yeah.
Yeah. Valiant, let's get your astute observation. I see you typing away there.
Sorry, no, I had to
see it.
unmute real quick.
No, I
no,
see it. I see it. I see you typing away, mate. You're there on your phone.
yeah,
I know
no,
you.
my wife
Yeah.
was texting me.
He's here, but he's not here.
Yeah, I see it.
Get here, man.
No, I think with anything in this case, it boils down to especially what we've seen Zaslav talking about since he came in, right? Cost-benefit analysis. And especially when you're talking about rebooting the DCU from the ground up, which is effectively what they plan to do here, at least what they've said. They have to look at everything, right? What is in the ether now that is on HBO Max or that is in the pipeline? What should we keep? What can we let go?
So
know.
this is it. Sorry to just interject. This is actually interesting. What you just said could have sort of jogged my memory a little bit there. Is that there's going to be a period where there's basically nothing DC coming out, because once these end, right, there's very little DC shows that are out. There's also a period of time where there's going to be literally no DC movies coming out. There's going to be a really long dead patch with actually nothing DC, because no movies have been announced. They're not in pre-production.
Yep.
Like that's quite a surprise, actually, if you're looking at it.
And
I didn't quite realize, you know, the sort of compounding nature of what they keep canceling, and obviously the period without any green lighting. That's going to be it's at least like 2 years without anything DC, isn't it? That's a long time.
Roughly a year or so, yeah.
Yeah, and that may not be a bad thing. You know, especially if you're going to reboot, you want to give yourself some space between what was and what is to come before you just dive right into the next thing. But I think they look at shows like this and go, look, if this is not going to fit in a canon going forward that we're trying to build with DC, and if, you know, we're spending $10 million producing a show like this or something, or whatever they're spending, and it's not really getting the audience traction that would warrant a $10 million outlay of production, then, like Zaslav has made it very clear, it's going to go. If we don't see a value to the money that we're spending, if we're not getting the kind of return that we expect, we're not going to go forward. Y'all were talking about Velma earlier. I don't know what the ratings are for that, but
Velma.
I think there's more people honestly hate watching that show than are watching it to enjoy it. And clearly, I can't imagine. Yeah, looking at that, I mean, if that keeps up, that'll be the next thing that'll disappear. I mean, that kind of thing. It's cute and great to have it, but I mean, it's not like David Zaslav is sitting there personally reviewing every minute of every episode of every show that's being produced.
Right.
He's got people that he pays to do that because he's got much bigger fish to fry right now and for the next couple of years. But I mean, he'll look at something like that and go, okay, this isn't working. This, you know, we can't spend $10 million to make season 2 of Velma or whatever, you know, or whatever they're spending to do this, because nobody's watching it. We're not getting $10 million worth of value out of this, and we're getting laughed at.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and that's the thing is, one thing Zaslav has said, we don't know what James' plan is yet. All we really know is he's going to do it in chapters, is what he's said so far. And we know that Zaslav has wanted one thing and one thing only from the start, and that is one unified universe. He said it flat out. We're not going to have 4 Batmen.
Yep.
Right?
No, but they have also said that the Batverse will still be happening and still remain separate.
There's been a lot of
They have said it.
shady stuff around that. Here's the other thing Zaslav said when he was asked about when we will see Pattinson again. He goes, "Well, I'm sure you'll see him in the Penguin in the Penguin show, and we're proud of that and whatever." He didn't say shit about Batman 2. And when they're pushing the Batman 2 off to 2025 and Joker 2 got fast-tracked, that tells me everything I need to know about the stuff I was told, that it's probably true that they're waiting to see how the Penguin turns out on HBO Max before going forward with anything else.
I think that's a bit of an unfair characterization, actually, because when did the Joker come out? 2019?
2018, I think.
So 2018, right?
No,
so
I think it was 2019.
2019, 2018, and Joker 2 is going to come out when?
this next
Think-
year here.
Later
Next
this year
year?
or next year?
Or this year here, yeah.
This year, I
it
think
is.
late
So-
this year. Yeah.
Okay, but then Batman came out last year, and then it's
Mhm.
going to come out in 2025. That's about the same distance, actually.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a mischaracterization to be like, well, Joker 2's been fast tracked. It's like, well, actually,
Well, it
hasn't.
was greenlit and fast tracked the day that he came in the door.
Yeah, but that's fast tracked. But the time frame between them, it's not fast tracked in terms of the actual time frame between the Batman and Batman 2 and Joker 2. They're about the same, realistically.
Yeah, but you're talking about two. Okay, yes, I get what you're saying, Nate. But we're talking about what Zaslav did the day he took control in April. The first thing he said is Joker 2, go ahead. Batman 2, he's sitting on.
But you know why that is? Well, they're not sitting on it because that's still that.
They got the Penguin going forward, but that's
happening.
it.
But from what we know, it's happening, right? Obviously, we don't know anything else outside of that, but from what we know, it is happening. There's the other way of looking at what you're saying is that David Zaslav came in and looked at what the former head had done with Joker, and they weren't doing anything with it, and he going, why the fuck aren't you doing anything with this? Greenlight it. So there's that element is that's the sort of opposing side of looking at things, rather than when he came in and was like, yeah, we need to fast track it. He probably came in and looked at it and gone, why isn't this why have you sat on this?
Yeah, you're talking about
so much money.
Joker?
Why are you sat on this? What's going on?
That's just it. It's exactly right, Mr. H. And that's all a guy like David Zaslav saw was, look, okay, Warner Brothers made a Joker movie that cost $50 million to produce. They probably spent maybe another $40 or $50 million marketing it, and the rentals they got back from the global box office was close to $500 million.
Yeah,
duh. Where's Joker 2, bro? I mean, it's like that's all he saw with that. We spent $100 million and we got $500 million back. Let's do that again. That's it. That's all it was to Zaslav. Yeah.
And so obviously,
but why would he turn around and say we're not going to have 4 Batmen then?
Well,
that's the other thing.
Clarify that he doesn't want 4 Batmen because that's nonsense. Everyone.
And then you had James Gunn turn around and flat out say this is one of the few things he has confirmed in all of his rants on Twitter, whatever you want to call it, or his answering non-answers, is that he flat out said that no way is the Matt Reeves verse crossing over with his stuff. So that to me puts that stuff on ice. And that's the thing, is it is pushed out. It is pushed out to 2025. If the movie was such a big hit, they'd already be working on the Batman 2. I'm telling you right now. It was a mixed bag. They're writing it. Pre-production writing, yeah. They still ain't got it greenlit, though.
I'm gonna check in with two people I know that are knee deep in Warner. One's leading the writing room in the Penguin show, and then the other one works on the Zaslav end, who I didn't know. I met. He's also an independent director. He gave me some very interesting insight in regards to what Zaslav was trying to get rid of, and it didn't happen. What he's gotten rid of. His take on the Zaslav team coming in. Maybe they're a little too big for their britches as far as where they're coming from. So it's very interesting. There's a lot going on there, but I do want to check in with the Penguins' progress as well. And that's all I'm going to say right now.
All right. Update in a couple of weeks then, Paulie.
Maybe sooner, but we'll.
The only other thing I'll add to that is Matt Reeves did say that all the ideas he had originally for the Batman 2 were put into the Penguin. Now, why would he do something like that?
When did he say that?
When did he say that?
I'll find the interview.
And if it's before October, that's dead news.
Yeah. Well, also,
if he said it like last week, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's new.
The way a lot of these work too is someone like Matt Reeves signs a multi-year deal with Warner Brothers, and so he may have. Yeah, exactly. He already has. So he may have in that deal prior to the Batman have windowing of certain things that he needed to do, because I know he's writing another movie with the guy he wrote the Batman with, and I think some of his energy has to go there to fulfill this pipeline, the films they have to do. So you can slow simmer something like the Batman 2 and know it's not going away because you're funded, but there may also be, I'm not saying anyone's wrong, but there may also be a consideration that as part of his 10-year deal, if he has to deliver 4 other movies, that bandwidth has got to go to that film for that time. And if he's chosen to work with the writer that wrote the Batman, they can't be doing both.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I thought that'd be an interesting sort of topic. Second, also Tom says, adding to the piece, Reeves mentioned offhand to some studio executives that he thought a second Batman movie would focus on how Oz became a crime kingpin, but rather than use this idea for a sequel to the Batman, the studio felt that the Rise of the Penguin would be better suited to a television series, and they're like, "Oh, we want to do that as a show," Reeves said.
Okay.
Well, when was that though?
This was last year, so it falls within that region of Paulie's talking.
Yeah.
But, so we'll see what he comes up with from the people he knows.
I think one of the questions I'm going to ask my friend is, what's the Reeves connection? Is there any? Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, let's get to a super chat before we move on to the next topic. I've got 2 topics left as an FYI. So Gary for £10 says, I've always wondered if the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs brought organisms that became humans. And if so, did other asteroids hit other planets, creating our cousins on other planets? Oh, some philosophical...
That's for a sequel.
I like that.
Don't get ahead of yourself. That's for a sequel.
We have 2 topics.
No, I like that. That's good. That is a thought experiment and a half. I like these kind of sort of philosophical questions.
That's for 66.
Interesting things. 60. Fuck off.
The sequel.
66.
It's a good idea for a movie.
No, I like this. This is good. Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, we don't know where they're going with 65, but yeah, we'll sort of.
Yeah, I'm clearly being facetious here, but no, it's interesting.
I know. Yeah, absolutely is interesting. These, like I said, these kind of thought experiments are brilliant. I do like them. I mean, how would you ever prove or disprove it? Like, you just never would. I don't think you could. Anyway,
it's about like the Super Mario Brothers movie where there's an alternate universe where the dinosaurs evolved instead of apes.
Yes. Yeah. God damn.
Yeah, I remember being fascinated by that as a kid because I saw a scientist, I guess when it was in the late 80s or 90s, he did a thing if velociraptors had not died out and were upward facing and their craniums had expanded, what would they look like? And it was very early sort of computer modeling, and I was like, that is a freaking great idea. If mammals never occupied those sections and they had, inevitably someone would have evolved much like the apes, and it would have been interesting to see that happen. So that's what science fiction is so good at, is what if. I would love to see a film like that.
Basically what you're talking about is life would be but with raptors. It's a Twitter thing that takes movies and just makes it with raptors. Yeah.
And rappers.
Exactly.
Rappers and raptors. Love it.
Yeah.
Raptors.
So, ladies and gents, one of our final topics, which I've been covering this, and it's a fascinating turn of events. Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland charged with a felony domestic violence. I mean, this is brutal stuff. Now, the interesting stuff about this is he's co-creator, but he's also the voice of Rick and Morty. He is Rick and Morty. Now, this sort of story, I mean, it's pretty awful, right? Domestic battery, false imprisonment. These are felony charges that he's been, charged with. But this came back, he pleaded not guilty in 2020 because this is a 2020 incident. Orange County, California district attorney. And his attorney came out and was like, we look forward to clearing Justin's name and helping him move forward as swiftly as possible. So the criminal complaint in the case, Roiland is being charged with 1 felony count of domestic battery with corporal injury, 1 felony count of false imprisonment by menace, violence, fraud, and or deceit. The complaint states the incident occurred on or about January 19th, 2020, against an anonymous Jane Doe who was dating Royland at the time. So pretty heavy stuff, right? Like, that's pretty heavy stuff. I mean, it's awful. Like, obviously, this is all alleged. We don't fucking know. It's all alleged. But there's a protective order filed against them. So Royland's not to harass, threaten, or surveil the person named. Royland can also not go within 100 feet of the person. The identity of the person named in the protective order is not known. So this came out, and obviously people were like, "Oh, okay, you know, there's a bunch of like pre-trial hearings and stuff like this." That all happened, and then Adult Swim, which is partially Warner Brothers as well, as far as I'm aware, came out and was like, "You know what? One abuser under our books, Ezra Miller, is you know, focusing all of our time on our PR management. So fuck Justin Roiland. He's been fired. See you later, mate." The voice of Rick and Morty, the co-creator, has been fired.
Yeah.
That's talk about like chalk and cheese in terms of your reactions to certain things, you know. Ezra Miller can be videoed choke slamming a woman in Iceland whilst on a Warner Brothers production, right? It's not alleged. He literally did it. It's in a fucking video, right? Yep. I don't need to say alleged. It's literally in a video. You know, multiple accusations thrown against him. He's appeared in court, not alleged. He appeared in court in Hawaii for throwing a chair at a woman's head and also stealing from people and threatening to bury them and things like this. That's fine. Don't you worry about it. This, nah, it's a step too far. I like, where's the logic on their reactions? I just don't get it. Now, it's interesting for a few reasons, because they signed a huge deal. 70 episode order. 70 episode order back in 2018. They're not even like halfway through it or something like that. So they're you know, that's a lot of money that they've, well, not really, well, I don't know if they lost it. I mean, how do you chalk this up? I mean, Valiant, do you have any insight to this? What's your thoughts? Because to me, this is just madness.
A couple of things, and you got to the point I was going to make. Again, it goes back to what I said before. It's like a cost-benefit analysis, right? I think they look at somebody like Ezra Miller and a production that was pretty much done, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a $200 million frickin' production on this film. What if we don't have him? If we have to replace him, it's going to cost us another $200 million to go back and fix all this. With this, the studio, the contract is with the company, the business, not Roiland directly, whatever company he had. So apparently they would have come to an agreement. The company that Roiland was with, that was contracted to do this, is he's going to step aside. The company's going to continue to produce the episodes. They're going to have to figure out a way to replace Roiland's voice acting, but the show will go on.
Basically all the characters.
Yeah, I mean, unless the company already has, like, we've already got his voice imprinted in the system, kind of like, you know, how Star Wars is going to fake James Earl Jones and fake this and fake this.
True.
Honestly, they probably already. Here's the thing: is they had like a 70 episode order. Mm-hmm. Chances are they wrote most of this shit and they've got it all, because for animation. Yeah. You know, you got to pre-set all this stuff. They probably have all the voice work done already. Who's to say they're not just going to use his voice?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible too.
He's already paid.
Yeah,
honestly, I don't think that they have.
At the same time, if they don't, at this point, I'm with most people. Just cancel the fucker. What the hell's the point? It's got too much baggage.
Here's the thing with it, though, that I found interesting. And I can't remember, it might have been Deadline or THR or something, but there was a statement from Roiland's attorney. And it was quite emphatic. It was like, oh, we are so looking forward to our day in court, because a lot of people don't understand what's happened here. And he was emphatic that once this goes, I believe the attorney even used the words, this will get dismissed. Like not like Ezra's attorney's like, well, he's going through some stuff and things, and he needs some mental help, and we ask you to. No, Royland's lawyer is like, this is bullshit, and we can't wait to get to court to prove it. So I was a little surprised at how quickly they were to jump the gun. And the question in my head is, what does Warner Brothers know of the facts of this case that we don't yet? Because
that's what I said.
Yeah,
that's what I said. Because I was like, well, it's someone that he was dating, and I'm like, maybe it's someone who was on the crew. Maybe it's someone that's pertaining directly to the show.
Maybe. It's a good point. I mean, it's a Jane Doe. So...
He's renowned for drinking, right? Like part of the voice recording that he used to do was him legitimately actually being drunk to play the characters.
Yep.
So, it's not a stretch that, look, it's all alleged. We don't know. And obviously, if this isn't true, it's awful that he's been accused of it if it isn't true. However, if it is true, there are definitely elements by which this could make sense, and you could go, oh yeah, I could kind of see how this would sort of spiral out of control. A guy rose to massive fame, stardom, gets drunk making a show, starts dating someone on the crew, is a bit of a who knows, right? You kind of see an avenue that this would have taken, especially if he's a bit of a drinker. Drink's never particularly great, so I don't know.
There's
the
a
fact
lot
that they
of
were so quick to do
this. Yeah.
Well, it's just the fact that they were so quick to do it. Quick.
That to me is almost weird, because that's the thing, Nate. It almost feels like they were so quick to do it, almost like they were waiting for a reason. It's like the moment he's charged with this thing, it's like, okay, we got a reason now. But that makes no sense. Then why give the guy, these guys a 70 episode order in this huge deal?
Well, that was back in 2018, though.
It was. Now. So I mean, that could be the case too, and I don't know.
And that was when this was at its peak. Rick and Morty's definitely died out now in terms of its popularity.
Well, you've had two of the creators have been surrounded by controversy. I mean, how long has it been since the show's had new episodes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I'm saying at this point, would it just be one of those things to be better off just to let it go? On Cartoon Network's part, or Warner Brothers' part, I'm not a lawyer, but I mean, I'm sure there's stipulations in the contract that they can do this, and there's nothing that Justin or anybody can do because he got charged with a felony. So true. And this is true of just most jobs. If you're charged with something like that, if you're a teacher, a cop, or whatever, you're going to be either suspended or fired. But in this case, I can't believe they just didn't suspend the show for now until this case was over with, then either resume or just cancel it. Because at this point, it just makes it look worse if he is found not guilty. But again, there's a ton of other accusations around this situation that I don't know all about. I'm not a big enough fan of the show to have any horse in the race one way or the other.
Yeah. Well, just on that topic real quick, VR and Tom, you guys have to disappear, don't you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could stick around longer, but this time of day for me is kooky. But I'm glad I could. Glad I could come hang out, and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show. It's great to see all of you. I'm a big fan. I watch you guys all the time.
Thank you very much. Nice to have you on, dude. Nice to have some insight.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. Let's do it again.
Conkle, Mandalorian starting soon, bro.
Hey, we got to do something on that. I got some inside info for you too. All right.
Awesome.
You guys.
I'll keep trying to sync up with you, Tom,
take care.
A morning show one of these days too. Yeah.
Please,
take care.
Tom, I think that'd be great. And Nate, take care.
And you, buddy. Take care. So what Valiant was alluding to with the statement from Royland's attorney was attorney T. Edward Wellborn said the media coverage of the case has been inaccurate. And Wellborn also added, to be clear, not only is Justin innocent, but we also have every expectation that this matter is on course to be dismissed once the district attorney's office has completed its methodical review of the evidence. I mean, that is pretty, like it's not a wishy-washy statement, is it? It's pretty down the line. So it is interesting. Like this is just one of those things that you look at and you go, okay, goddamn, like it's the speed at which they just fired him. Is the surprising thing, because they're so slow on a lot of this stuff normally. So yeah, interesting, very very interesting. So move on. We got another super chat to get to before we get to our last topic of the day. Larry Quadowitz. It's about the public perception, not the trial outcome. So I understand them firing him. They did the same thing with Depp, just not with Ezra Miller. Yeah, but Ezra Miller's thing's more high profile. Or maybe because he's such a nobody in terms of star power.
Him and Amber are protected classes too. Don't forget that.
Well, they are. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a factor. But I also think a certain element of it is, like, I do a video on Ezra Miller. Loads of people are like, who? Like the guy who played Flash. They're like, oh, him. Like he's not a
Oh
name
yeah,
like
outside
Johnny
of our
Depp.
circles, nobody knows him. Yeah.
So yeah, there is that element of it. Larry Quadowitz also drops in for $2 and says, didn't Dan Harmon get Me Too'd also? Might be true. I think he did, yeah.
That's what I was saying, is both the creators around the show have had controversy surrounding them. And, there's people saying stuff in the chat that I don't even want to allude to that is being tossed about with this. Yeah, like that kind of a thing. Yeah, so, again, at this point, I don't know what they have done so far, because, they do the voices well in advance of the animation.
They do.
So it's hard to say what has been done and what hasn't been done yet. Like you said, this deal goes all the way back, 4 or 5 years now. So
yeah, 2018. Yeah, it's interesting turn of events. So I want to talk about 665.
I haven't seen the new trailer yet.
I haven't seen it either.
Have you watched the first one?
I seen the first one, yes.
I did.
Have you watched the first one now?
I saw the first one also too in the theater, which looks brilliant.
Finally. Good.
Yeah.
Well, the second trailer is equally as great.
Okay.
Say no. What do you mean no?
I mean, no, I haven't seen it.
Oh.
You said finally the first one, the second one. No, I haven't seen it.
Well, the second one's great. It looks great, and I want to talk about it.
I trust you.
Well, I'd like you to watch it a little bit now whilst we're live on stream, quite frankly.
Oh, okay. We're gonna do this.
That's all right. Same with you, Tom. If you could, that'd be good.
I got a couple minutes.
Fuck me, I guess. No, honestly, watch this second trailer, right? Okay. I can't show it to you guys watching. We'll go and watch it now.
Oh, okay. I'll be right back. I'm like, okay, I'll be right back.
No, honestly. No, with your screen on, because I want your live reaction, because fuck me, is it a good trailer? Like, I mean, it is a very good trailer. I was blown away. Genuinely blown away. Tom, are you watching it as well?
I'm checking it out on my phone.
Tom's dead. He's ignoring us.
Okay, trailer 2.
Yep. It's so good. It is so good. I can hear it.
Is it too loud?
No. Oh, so good.
A lot more information. Energy is like totally different than the first one.
Yeah, the vibe's different. The tone is different. Yeah, it's a very, very different beast. Very, very different beast.
65 million years ago. Oh, nice. Oh, nice shot.
Interesting. So is Adam Driver responsible for killing all the dinosaurs?
Well, so this is the interesting thing. Like, I mean, just everything about this looks great. Tonally, this is just it's amazing. Tonally, it's so good. Like, the animation is great. The fact that he was a Marine as well, and the way he holds the gun in this, it's all there's so much. There's nothing I dislike about this trailer. There is literally nothing. I look at that for an opening shot. Obviously, I can only do it in like freeze frame bit by bit because you get copyright claims and stuff like that. But look at that for an opening shot.
I'm in.
This isn't it fucking brilliant?
Yeah, and we were in on the first trailer.
Yeah, but now I'm doubly in. They got all my money.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest
VFX.
Adam Driver fan, but now I'm like really interested.
You know what though, right? Like I thought he was a good actor. I was never a fan. But him being the star, the lead of this, the sort of carrying force behind this movie, I think he's going to really shine. Like him in this, he really shines in this trailer. Everything about this is solid. I love it. I absolutely love it. And this is what Jurassic Park needed to be, or like what should have been Jurassic World should have been.
And it looks like a really meaty role. It's not just him shooting at stupid stuff. It's like it looks like there's going to be some good drama here.
Well, it's not just definitely some good drama. It's not just that as well. Like the outfits are great. The set, like this shot is beautifully done shot. But then what amazes me about this is this film obviously wouldn't have cost. Well, I don't actually know how much does this cost. This film cost 65 movie. I bet there's no information. $91 million. Wow. This film cost $91 million. And the VFX are better than some of the Marvel movies.
That's kind of
some of the Jurassic World movies.
I mean, nowadays for like a big budgety looking film, action film, that's kind of on the low end. That's pretty good.
$91 million is tiny budget. That is a minuscule budget.
There was that shot where the asteroids are going past behind him. That looked really cool.
Yeah. But everything about this is great. Like obviously shot on location. So you bring the budget down from there. But again, because it's real world location, the colors are easier to work with. Just $91 million. Fucking $91 million. So good. So good. And obviously, I don't know, this sort of relationship with the girl seems to be quite an endearing element of the movie. So I like that. That's good. And yeah, like this set pieces, set design, epic. Mm-hmm. Absolutely epic. Love it all. Absolutely love it all. But the tone, definitely much more like a horror film. But this was interesting. So it says 65 million years ago, and then we get a giant dinosaur here, which that's great. Humans discovered Earth. So what's the thoughts and theories then? Come on, what do we think? 65 million years ago, humans discovered Earth.
That's what I was saying. Like, yeah, like, is it insinuating that, like we were talking about earlier, that humans came here from another planet, and then, like with the whole asteroid thing behind Adam Driver, that's where I was saying, are they implying that Adam Driver killed the dinosaurs out? So it'll be interesting. No, it looks a lot of fun. I'm with you, Nate. I'm looking forward to this. This one looks like it might be some fun. I don't know if I'll get a chance to see it in theaters, but maybe.
But it's this, right? Because he was a Marine, how he handles this gun, that flow there, epic. Like it's precision, precise. What were you going to say?
It's going to be very interesting as far as who killed who, then the civilization of where they're from, what history have they kept hidden? There's some great story ideas, possibilities here. I'm pretty curious. I like this type of stuff. And I guess, what was that? A male and female sign? So they're already going against
family.
the
Family sign.
Oh, is it family?
Yeah,
Oh,
because he says
okay.
in the trailer, you know, go home, blah blah blah. It's like home, family.
Family.
Yes. Like he's obviously struggling to
Mhm.
communicate with her, right? Like different language, maybe who knows. But it looks just everything about this is great. Love it.
Mhm.
Absolutely love the look of this. I think this is solid. Although there's I don't know what this is. Like, a bit weird. Never mind. Yeah, I love the look of this. I think this is great. This is, you know, this is kind of what I don't know. Like it sings to like my inner child. You know, this is what I wanted the Jurassic World movies to be. You know, they're actually on the loose. They're actually scary. They're actually going to kill you. There's actually, you know, real risk there. And then what we got was vastly disappointing by comparison.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know that shot.
That's
That shot is
so good.
insane.
Well, yeah, because he's like, what does he say? Like, launch the ship. Just shouts it, launch the ship. And then this, like, fuck it. The visual effects in this are really good.
Yeah.
And so I knew about this film. What I knew about this film was actually negative, but then negative but positive. So it screened, and they were like, no, back to the drawing board, completely back to the drawing board, because there was an element of them finding like an injured dinosaur and sort of taking it with them on this journey, which there's nothing tonally like that in this trailer, because that was going to add levity. It was going to be a bit of comedy, a bit loving, a bit endearing. But they screened it, and like I have footage of it as well that was sent to me. But yeah, the studio execs were like, no, scrap it. That shit, scrap it completely. It's tonally all over the place. Like, no, we're not having that. Which is ballsy that they did that, because it's very rare that they decide to do stuff like that nowadays. You know, it's unusual that they acknowledge that something is actually, you know, crap, and they're going to go back to the drawing board. But yeah, they did. Like this shot, fucking hell. Can you imagine that?
It's interesting too, because there's some familiar shots from obviously, you know, from Jurassic with this, and then there's some different ones.
It's this shot, yeah.
And
this shot here, that's very Jurassic Park.
Yeah, so you're gonna have those no matter what, but the tone here is just very different. But I'm gonna bounce out, and get ready for the after party, Nate. So
unbelievable. We're not even finished the party. He's getting ready for the after party. Disgraceful.
Hey, you still got Tom. You and Tom can party together right now for like 5 minutes, or however long you guys are at.
Oh, good. Cheers, Tom. Thanks, mate. Thanks. Good.
All right, I'll stay.
No, sorry. We are basically done anyway. But does anyone have any sort of further thoughts on this?
No, it looks fun.
For me,
like,
yeah. I just think this looks, you know, it might come out and might be absolutely garbage, right? But what I heard about it was they went back to the drawing board, and they really made a conscious effort to make it significantly better. And it was tone. I heard it was all about the tone. It was too light-hearted, and everything about these trailers to me,
really,
yeah, because they found like a 3-legged ankylosaurus and stuff like this. Again, like I've got footage of it, so you know. That element was way too light-hearted. It became some sort of like family dino adventure kind of thing, a bit just weird, tonally all over the place. And from this, if they've removed that and made a consistent tone throughout, and it's this tone that's exhibited in the trailers, I think this will do very, very well. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't.
I mean,
people always underestimate dinosaur stuff. People love dinosaurs.
Are you so? I mean, I'm just curious as to why you're so excited about this.
Oh, I'm a massive kid. I love dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs.
How could you ask him such a thing? It's pretty obvious. This is awesomeness. It's got dinosaurs, lasers. What more could you want? Spaceships.
Dinosaurs, sci-fi. It's serious. It's gritty. Like I don't know.
What do you mean? How can I ask? I'm having a conversation, Connor.
I'm just being facetious, Josh.
Jesus Christ, man. Because I'm sure there's people in the chat that his followers that want to know as well.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm honestly, I'm sure you're right as well. That there are a lot of people that are like, what? I don't get it. To me, it is very much that sort of inner child, but from an adult's perspective, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I was
I
one of
didn't
I was
get
one
it
of
at
those kids that
first.
loved dinosaurs. Absolutely loved dinosaurs as a
Yeah.
kid. And you watch Jurassic Park as a you watch Jurassic Park, you're like, this is amazing, this is great. And then you sort of revisit that element in Jurassic World, you're like, this is shit. Because obviously you're an adult now, and you like things a bit more serious, but you still like dinosaurs, you like monsters, etc. And so then this comes out and you're like, oh, holy shit. There's very real risk, there's very real threat, there's very real danger. Coupled with the element of, well, what are they? Are they ancient aliens? Are they humans? What is it? It just looks it just looks cool. It's very serious. I'm sick of all the dinosaur movies not being serious. Jurassic Park was a serious film, and everything since then has indulged in an overly light-hearted comedic element, or overly family tone. This, from the trailer, obviously we're only talking about from the trailer, but from the trailer is very serious in tone. And I want that. I want to see a dinosaur movie that's very serious in tone. And I like the sci-fi elements. I like what they're doing with the set design. I like the ship design. I like the weaponry design. And it's quite thoughtful. There's an element where they're taking water from a river, and very clearly, the lights go up this device, showing that it's filtered and it's clean and it's safe to drink. And it's those tiny little, little additional elements that show care, time, and attention from either the concept designers or the writers. And stuff like that's important. I like the sci-fi elements. There's those balls that he throws, and then they split open. It's clearly a weapon, maybe a gravity charge of some description, like a grenade. Those things are cool. Those are really, really cool. I like this type of stuff. It's, to me, it's got everything I would want in it. It's cool. I guess that's the best way I can
so
sort of
when I
describe
saw the first one in the trailer, like last week in the theater,
it.
I was like, oh man, this looks really good. And because
But
I just didn't get that on the
also,
small
sorry
screen.
just to interrupt as well, the cinematography. So you're talking about that. The cinematography. It looks, the filmmakers are taking the film seriously. The cinematography is good.
Correct. Like it's like
know?
it's like an Alien. It's like
Yeah.
like
Yes.
it's and that's it says something to where my other half, we went to see another movie, she doesn't like that sci-fi stuff. She wants to see this. Like she's like in. I mean, a lot of people like Adam Driver as well, so
yeah.
it looks like it has weight. So besides all the great looking effects, and it's an interesting scenario. But yeah, I'm in. It's coming up too.
Oh, yeah, when's that out? Oh, March 17th.
March 17th,
nice.
right around the corner.
Tom, do you have anything to say about this, or are you just chilling out?
No, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you, Nate. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I get a chance to see it in theater. If not, I can't wait to check it out when it hits video on demand or whatever. But yeah,
We need to drag your ass to more bloody movies.
I live too far from a decent theater. That's my fucking problem. For me to go see a movie, I literally have to drive over an hour, or at least an hour.
I have to drive an hour. What are you talking about?
Basically, both are like, one's a major city, one's a tourist trap. So yeah, it's just dealing with all that bullshit.
I have to drive to the local shithole to go watch movies. So look, if I can do that, you can drive to a tourist trap.
No comment on Tom's struggles there. No comment.
If you guys only knew the middle of buttfuck nowhere that I lived.
You know what this is, Tom?
Yeah.
It's the world's smallest violin, mate. It's better for you. Oh dear. Right, anyway, we'll stop ragging on Tom. Okay, ladies and gents, we are over and done with the stream. Please do hit subscribe on the second channel. You'll find it linked down below in the description box. Miss H Reviews Live Archives. You'll find the best bits down there. So please do check that out. There is the after party, which is over on the Latino Slant. You'll find it. It's going to this stream will redirect you over there. Anyway, there's a redirect on. So please do check that out and hit subscribe over there, as well as Tom. Midnight's Edge After Dark. You can find that linked in the description box. But guys, do you have anything to add, to say, what you're up to, those kind of good things?
Just in about an hour or so, I'll be live over on Mead after Polly and whatnot. And yeah, that's about it.
Excellent. Paulie?
Yep. No, gonna continue the conversation, on some of the things you brought up today. That's the whole kind of point of the after party, and I'm always gonna have a different little co-host. We got some new YouTubers during the thing. Lady Bellfire and Mags are gonna come and join me. And Nate, you're always welcome to pop in. I just know it's getting late over there for you.
You haven't fucking invited me yet. Absolutely outrageous. Unbelievable. You're welcome, I guess.
You're welcome to come in, but
am I?
Yeah.
So who have you got on? Sorry, because I don't know who these people are.
Lady Bellfire and Mags Magitech. God, I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Two lovely ladies in the community. Smart nerdy girls. That's it.
And what's sorry, do they have YouTube channels? What's the deal?
I think lady's really starting to punch away with her YouTube channel.
Right.
So every week it's kind of different, but the whole point is that, like, we'll continue the conversation. Some of these, like, I want to get their take on Velma, talk about The Last of Us. I know we didn't talk about that. Maybe even talk about 65.
So I didn't know if you'd been watching it. So that's
yes.
And I know Tom hasn't been watching it because Tom doesn't watch it. So yeah.
I've been watching Yellowstone.
It's too far to drive.
Exactly.
It's too far to drive for him to see The Last of Us. It's too far of a drive.
Why would I watch The Last of Us anyway?
It's really good. That's why. Oh.
I know what happens. Abby turns into a man.
She's not in it, you penis.
You're right there.
Eventually she will be.
Oh my God. That's funny. All right.
Right. Well, anyway, send me a link to these people's channels so I can check them out as well. Good for me.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, one more super chat before we disappear. Gary for £5 says, I'd love for them to do a Turok and Shadow Man movies and other Valiant characters. I completely agree. And on that note, thank you all so much. Peace out. Take care. Love you. Goodbye.